Breaking news for Path of Exile 2 enjoyers. It's been around 1 week since the launch of the Fate of the Vaal League, and a lot of our focus has been around fixing technical problems with the launch, including crashes and bugs. However, after looking at feedback, we also have a lot of improvements to make for the league. So it's time to talk about them. A consistent bit of feedback we have received is that rewards for the temple are not high enough, particularly in the end game. The rewards simply don't scale enough to make temples worth doing currently. I agree, even in the campaign, to be honest, but in the end game, I'm sure it's much worse. And if you would almost always rather be mapping than end gaming, or than running the Vaal Temple, then it's a pointless league that doesn't need to exist. It should always be at least an option that you're considering doing. In order to address that, we're making a bunch of changes. First of which is buffing the mods that rooms add to the temple. We're approximately doubling the values on existing modifiers applied to the temple at all room tiers. The Spy Master, Golemworks, Thermiter's rooms apply bonus to other specific rooms in the temple. The Corruption Chamber room at tier 3 now also adds a Corrupted Abomination to the temple. This is just adding different bosses and different new rewards like this one. The Alchemy Lab room at tier 3 also increases gold found. And then Treasure Vault room now adds 25% rarity of items dropped to the temple. Okay, this is going to be a very exciting room to get in your temple for sure. We also had some crafting benches for exalting, Vaaling, and alchemy that did not allow you to take their craft as currency. We didn't want you to be able to take those as currency until after the events at the end of Act 3, but this never got implemented. But now, after Act 3, Exalt, Vaal, and alchemy crafting benches will allow you to take their currency. That's good because it makes you do it in the low tiers, but in the high tiers when you have a shitload of these currencies anyway, it's like, really? You're not just going to let me add one more exalt to my 100 exalt? It's not really like a super special currency anymore, like in the end game, you know what I mean? We still want the temple to scale even harder at endgame though, so we wanted to make another change. Added a medallion which will add a random waystone modifier to your temple that lasts for 10 temple runs, allowing you to make it more difficult and rewarding. Be careful though, you can get some dangerous modifiers. I actually really like that. I thought that the temple was far too easy the few times that I did it. Yes, I'm low level. Yes, these are very early temples, but we did a tier 3 room, and I think a tier 3 room at whatever stage of the game you're in, no matter how it's scaled, should be difficult. But we absolutely super smashed through it. I've had I had a more difficult experience in Act 2 maps, in Act 2 campaign maps than I had in either of the 5 temple runs I've run between me and my duo's temples. So yeah, we also wanted to make it a bit easier to get the specific rooms you need to get a certain combo. Added a medallion that allows you to reroll rooms waiting to be placed. I heard this is a major problem. I got really lucky and was able to build literally like a tier 3 room right away on the second temple run that I did. But not everybody's going to get that luck. You're going to be like, okay, well, I don't need these buildings. I need the buildings that are required to make tier 3 rooms and make higher valuable rooms. I don't need 3 of the same room. There's no place for it. And this is going to help with that for sure. Another concern that players had was that defeating the architect was resulting in too much progress lost. Yeah, the whole thing. And rewards were not worth it. To improve that, we're making the following changes. By the way, I showed this in my last video, but I just want to show it again. This meme right here. My face when all my Vaal Temple rooms get deleted. I only got 3 exalts from it. By DS Lily. And then the Ziz clip, of course. Hilarious.
We now have full access.
Mounting greed, I'll take that.
It says what you need is? Yeah, lift them up.
Oh, Obelisk of Cleansing is kind of sick.
Complete temple. So good. Oh, poor Ziz, man.
I need to go for a walk.
Anyway, I love watching that clip. That's a banger. Yeah, so he defeated the architect, deleted his whole building. DS Lily had the same thing. A lot of other streamers have had the same thing. I mean, it's banger clips because everyone hates it. Halving the number of rooms that are removed when defeating the architect. Thank God. Now, I haven't defeated him yet, but that would have been very annoying. I would have been very annoyed by that if that happened to me. So I'm happy they fixed that before I even get to have that problem. Allowing reward rooms to be placed from the architect's console to connect to any other adjacent room, not just paths, making them easier to claim. Allowing the architect to connect to any other adjacent room. I'm sure this is probably pretty good, right? Right? Like I said, I haven't made it to the architect yet, so, you know, I'm just speaking off of like what I know. I'm sure this is very, very good. Kind of seems like you're able to make more layouts and do more different things. The tablet research vault room crafting outcomes can no longer destroy tablets. It's probably pretty good. The uniques vault room excludes more common uniques as the level of temple increases. Okay, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So if you want to farm high-end uniques, you make a high-end temple. You make a really big temple. Extraction chamber is now significantly rare, and you cannot get offered more than one of these at the console table. Okay. We've also heard feedback that rewards of the in-world encounters were not high enough in the end game. I think the same thing for even in the early game. Like, okay, to be fair, in the early game, the one small currency that you get is like, it's useful. It's useful. I'm just being honest, it's useful. But because like you're not getting a ton of currency. However, back last league, Abyss, when every map there's an abyss, and like most of the abysses you're getting like a chest, and the chest is like multiple of these things, multiple pieces of gear, multiple currencies. It just doesn't even moderately compare. So now, after completing non-boss Fate of the Vaal encounters, a chest will now rise out of the center to drop some items, pretty much exactly like Abyss now. In the campaign, this will be a magic chest, but in the end game, it can be magic or rare. W. Absolutely W. These changes, along with some others, will be deployed with patch 0.4.0c tomorrow. Absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. If there's someone you can have faith in, it's GGG. Thanks. Yeah, if there's anyone you can have faith in, it's GGG for sure. They just listen to what the players want. I can't think of a single problem people were having. Okay, I can think of one problem people were having that doesn't look like it was addressed. One that I can think of right off the top. And it's that, and I think the problem mainly is like the rewards and the difficulty was just like so, like who cares? Like it was just there, barely gave any rewards. Its difficulty wasn't even high, like it didn't even challenge you. It was more like, it's not rewarding enough to even like take a break from mapping to go do, right? And you can't like build up a bunch of like an overflow of rooms and then go run the temple. You kind of have to like do 5 maps or do 6 maps, go to temple, do 6 maps, go to temple, do 6 maps, go to temple. And whenever it's not worth it, right? Whenever it's not worth your time and it doesn't respect your time, you don't want to do that. So people were saying like, I wish there was a way to like not have to go to the temple every 6 maps. That is the only thing they didn't address. And I think that's fine. I think that's fine. I think if you want to interact with the temple, then you want to interact with the temple. If you don't, you don't. I think that was honestly one of the least, whatever. That was probably the most whatever criticism. Mostly because I personally believe that it came out of it just not being worth it to do. So if you have to do all this work to get to it and it's not worth it to do, or you have to go back every 6 maps and it's not worth it, then like, why would you want to do that anyway? But if it's very worth it, if it has a lot of, if the rewards are definitely up and it's a less miserable mechanic to interact with, then you'd be happy to go every 6 maps, So thank you for watching the video. I basically just read the patch. Let me know if you enjoy this, and peace. Subscribe.